Let's go over this again. 50 cars, 50 drivers. 3 classes, 1 champion each. Racing in a variety of race formats and locations. Braving the constantly changing conditions and competition. All for a shot at the fame and glory of being the champion. Welcome to HSR Motorsport GT3 series. Is it easy racing against these guys? I don't think so. Indecision can cause chaos on the racetrack, while confidence can result in perfection. Drivers will push each other to the limits and beyond. The champion rises through the ranks to take the ultimate glory. Battles will be fought, won and lost, as drivers fight on tracks all across the globe. There will be fear, pain and loss. There will be courage, pride and triumph. Mistakes will be made, and their consequences could be dire. Precision and skill can only be noticed in the very best. This is racing. This is what we love and do. The question is, what will you do? Hello and welcome to the HSR Motorsport GT3 Season 4 Championship, and today you join us for round 7 here at the Nurburgring GP circuit, and it is absolutely sopping. The rain is pouring down. It is going to be another wet one today. Now, it's not the first time we've been here. It's actually the second time. Last time round we were at Season 2, Round 2 of the championship. Well, round 2 of the Season 2 Championship. That sounds a bit better. And I do apologise in advance for any weird words or phrases I say, because, yeah, my brain's a bit mush tonight, as it was last week. But that's all normal. That's all standard procedure with me, so, yeah. As you can see, there's the Nordschleife in the background as well. But we won't be venturing out onto that section today or for the season. We've only got one race left in the season. If this is your first time joining us, then welcome. You join us for the penultimate race of the season, round 7 of 8. And today is going to be a very interesting race, to say the least, because we do have some championship leaders who are ahead by quite a few points, and this could potentially be that one race where they just clinch the final couple points to guarantee them that victory. So, to explain a little of the day's proceedings, we've got 45 minutes of practice followed by 20 minutes of qualifying and then an hour's race, 60 minutes of racing. But this includes a mandatory pit stop. This pit stop is for fuel only. Tyres are optional, but fuel, you have to put it in. And there is a mandatory... Sorry, it's not mandatory, sorry. There's a fixed time for the fuel. So no matter how much fuel you pour in, you're going to be sat in the pit lane for exactly the same amount of time. Whether you pour in 1 litre or 120 litres, you're still there for 25 seconds. And then whether you put on tyres or not, that's where the strategy comes in, because that's where you will start to have the deficits. That's where you will lose 5 seconds. So have the 25 minutes... Ooh, 25 minutes is a long pit stop, isn't it? 25 seconds of refueling and then the extra 5 seconds of the tyres, or you might have some body repairs that you need to do. A couple suspension components might have gone wrong, yada yada yada, stuff like that. And so ultimately, you know, that's what can change the race. And because it's wet, I can imagine we'll see a bit of bodywork repairs, and they do influence the car's performance slightly, but not by too much, I'd say. And if not, then tyres shouldn't be too much of a problem, as long as the drivers can get the pressures right for the temperatures, because that has been an issue in the past, especially if the track is kind of on the verge between dry and wet, what they call greasy, which is just such a horrid pressure and temperature window, because you put on your hards, it never gets up to temperature and the pressures are rubbish. You try it with the wets and you barely get out of the pit lane and it's already into the red. You're already over the required temperature and pressure. So getting those tyre pressures and temperatures right is going to be the key thing for our drivers today. And of course, the weather can continue to change. It might not stay the same. It might get dry towards the end. That's what we saw at the Nurburgring just 2 races ago. And it started out in the wet. It was absolutely soaking. And about 45 minutes into the race, that's when it started to dry up, and then 10 minutes later it was raining again. So, yeah, there's a lot that could happen. There is a lot that could happen. Now, we, of course, since it's a championship, there are going to be championship standings which need to be addressed. So let's go over them real quick. If this is your first time joining us, we have 3 different classes. We have Pro, we have Pro-Am, and Am, in order of fastest to slowest. It sounds really bad to say it that way, doesn't it? But basically, Pro stands for professional, Am stands for amateur, and Pro-Am is kind of in the middle. It's literally in real life endurance racing, that's where they have a professional driver and an amateur driver sharing the same car. But in this championship, we only have 1 driver per car. So, let's go over the pro standings real quick. Topinka currently on 127 points, leading the championship by a massive margin. Technically, mathematically, it is still possible for Rebecci, who's in P2, at 71 points. It is still mathematically possible for him to get there, but only just, as in Topinka would have to forget to sign out of his last race and get a 5 points penalty. But otherwise, yeah, it's pretty much game over. So all Topinka has to do is just finish today's race. That's all he has to do, and he's got the championship in the bag. But further down, we've got Jordan on 68 points, only 3 points off of Rebecci for P2, so quite close there. But the gap to Limburg's in P4 is not quite so big. It is literally 0 points. 68 points for both Jordan and Limburg's for P3 in the championship. And then a little further down, we've got Peters rounding off our top 5 with 64 points. So in the positions 2 to 5 in the pro class, the competition's quite high. It is quite tight, I'm not going to lie. But of course, Topinka, as is tradition, as he did through Season 2, he's just been absolutely flying all season long. But last week, we did see Marcy come quite close to Topinka In fact, it was only 0.2 seconds off him into the third last corner at the Red Bull Ring, just as they come out of turn 8, and unfortunately he just clipped the gravel. So if he'd potentially gotten that corner right, he might have made a move into turn 9 and taken the race lead and taken the race win at literally the penultimate corner. But that's what could have happened. It didn't. Move on. Now Marcy just needs to focus and get his head down, because Marcy is currently P6 behind Peters on 59 points, and he's really had quite a late season revival, if you will. He started off quite slow, but now he's starting to regain that momentum, and he's starting to perform well once again. Now for the Pro-Am class, we have Manship in P1 on 131 points. And that is still, believe it or not, mathematically possible for him to lose that if he doesn't get any points in the next 2 races. Of course, there's all the other maths that could come in, if he finishes behind his championship rival, yada, yada, yada. I don't have a calculator fast enough on me, or I don't have the brains enough for it tonight either. I probably don't have the brains for it tomorrow night. Next week either. But anyways, let's get back to it. Manship, 131 points. Taylor, 97 points. And then Fox in P3, 85 points. So a little more spread out, but there is still plenty that could happen. And then P4 is Pfeiffer with 72 points. And Janssen, P5 with 61 points. And actually, P6, Simmons, is on 57 points. We've seen plenty of action between Fox and Simmons, particularly at the Red Bull Ring. And I'm actually quite surprised at how Janssen has managed to sneak into P5. It is great to see, though. It is nice to see one of the Porsches get up there now. And then finally, probably one of the closest fought championships consistently throughout HSR Motorsport broadcasting history is going to be the AM class. Pennell, currently P1 with 101 points. Rucroft, P2 with 95 points, so only 6 points difference there. Huben in P3 with 88 points. Again, only 7 points difference there, so it is quite tight between these guys. And it was even closer last race, heading into round 6. It was Pennell on 82 points, Rucroft on 80 points. So there's some really tight competition here. P4 then is Craddock with 83 points. Again, just 5 points, and then there's a bigger gap down to P5 Lewin, who's on 62 points. But unfortunately, Lewin is no longer able to continue the championship. You might have noticed he hasn't been racing quite recently. You'll know because I quite like his orange livery on the Mercedes. But yeah, unfortunately, he's just not able to continue the rest of the season. So that's kind of where there's a bigger gap. However, it is worth mentioning that Conti and Osduru are also drivers to keep in mind. Conti with a podium, and he's been putting in some consistent results, 60 points, and Osduru just behind him. In fact, he won last race at the Red Bull Ring to take P8, I believe? P7 in the championship with 42 points. So yeah, just worth mentioning it. As well, last race, Puller also got a podium for the Pro-Am class, 35 points for him. And any other mentions in the Pro class? Not really. Now, 2 drivers to keep an eye out for today, just in general, is going to be Mishka and Schubert, because they are racing on home turf. It is their home race track, their home track. I swear there's a nicer way to say it. I swear there's a nice way to say it. But yeah, it's home turf for them. It's their home race, so just keep them in mind. Last time we were here, in fact, Mishka got a podium, so I'm sure he's going to be looking to satisfy the German fans once again, ready to take his home race. Schubert as well, he's been performing fairly consistently, but unfortunately he's just not been getting as good a result as he might have been wanting so far. But we'll have to see. Now that's enough blabbering. You guys haven't seen any action, any cars going around yet, so let's get that going. So let's start by following Pennell, and he's So just also a heads up to you guys in the live chat or wherever you're watching us from. I like to do like a livery run throughout practice because there's virtually nothing else to talk about because, yeah, you do have times and stuff. Drivers pushing and, drivers being a certain amount of time between each other and all that good stuff. But, yeah, there is, it's all, I don't know how to put it, it's all speculation until you start hitting qualifying because drivers right at the start, most of them will be looking at doing a race setup or just getting used to the conditions, getting used to the car in some cases. But in other cases, they might just go straight to qualifying setup because they already have it nailed and they're just going for fastest lap. So you never know who's actually on quali pace, who's actually on normal race pace. It's really confusing. So what I do instead, well, not instead, but to also, keep us busy while the times keep climbing, is look at liveries. So Pennell, he's actually swapped back to a livery that he used at not the Hungaroring, because Hungaroring he used an orange livery, and then last race we didn't actually see much of Pennell. So technically he's switched back to the round 4 livery, pink and yellow, which is quite nice. I'm not gonna lie. It just lacks a bit of branding, I think. So maybe I don't like to say it, but a little too simple. Now we do have the big dogs in. We have Topinka currently ripping it around in a Lamborghini, and unfortunately his livery is not showing. It is only a carbon fiber Lamborghini going around the circuit now. Usually he's got quite a nice pink, white and black livery, almost reminiscent of, I want to say Onid, but it's not really. It's not really Onid's style. Anyways, let's see if we can get a circuit tour, track tour. I was about to say Jordan, but he's parked up somewhere just as they head into that section. Actually, Topinka's just coming up here now. Let's go on board. Go for a little track tour, shall we? So, coming down the main straight, we do of course have turn 1 coming up. It's a little downhill before you hit the braking section. It's a massive hairpin, plenty of space for overtaking here. Braking, aim for that apex through the right-hander, up the hill, then it's bring the car over to the right as far as possible through the left-hander of turn 2. It's quite a long one, maybe late apex, get on the power early, and then again stay as wide as you can, or as wide as you dare, heading into turn 3, which is a left-hander. Bring the car all the way over to the left again as far as you can before you take it into turn 4, onto the curb, out through turn 5. Again, just trying to maximize the amount of track you are using. Bring it all the way over to the right, as close as you can to the white line, into turn 6, and then, I don't know, I'm always a bit dodgy into turn 7, so I can't really say anything about the strategy for it. Forward curve, again, just use as much of the track as you dare, as much as you can, especially in the rain. Down the hill into turn 8. This is a popular overtaking spot because there is a lot of camber on the inside corner, so you can just dive into it. And the drivers who don't know about it just keep going straight on. Onto the exit curb, bring it over to the right again, through the Michael Schumacher S. It's just a slight lift, and you're just kind of managing the understeer, managing the oversteer, and you can hear just a touch on the gravel through turn 9. Now, through turn 10, Como curve. Again, you can get some pretty good mid-corner speed. Bring it all the way over to the left again, through bit curve, turn 12, and again, just carry that speed out onto the straight, which isn't really a straight because you've got turn 13, the little right-hander kink, no lifting necessary, and then into the chicane of turns 14 and 15, Vidal. Take the second left-hander thingy-majig, so you don't go down the wrong road, and then into the final corner, turn 16, Coca-Cola curve, and then you're back onto that main straight. So yeah, that was a little track tour with almost said Marcy, with Topinka, who is, of course, a current Pro Class Championship leader. Oh my goodness, my track maps have just fallen over. Give me just a moment. Cool. So, who else do we have? We have Marcy, who was challenging Topinka last week, and he was doing a pretty decent job at it. And he's currently 7/10 off the fastest time of Topinka. This man in the Aston Martin, again, same livery as he's been using all season long. Limburg's in the Lamborghini. He's also been performing quite well this season, being promoted from Pro-Am, where he won 2 straight races in a row at Zolder, and that immediately just got him promoted to the Pro class. And he's not been performing too bad. He was putting up some good resistance at the Red Bull Ring, also at the Hungaroring. He's just been a really great driver to watch. All really solid, slightly slippery on the exit of turn 8, I would say, heading into the Michael Schumacher curves now. And then we have Morris, who returns to chat. He did not make it to the Red Bull Ring last week. However, he did get his first podium of the season at the Hungaroring, and it was great to see him finally qualify in a position that was somewhat reminiscent of where he should be performing during the race. But there's just always something that happens during qualifying that just prevents him from starting where he wants to. So he's always fighting through the grid, which is really entertaining to watch. But at the same time, it's always quite disappointing seeing him finish quite low. So it's nice to see him finally finish on the podium, finally finish where he belongs. And just as I say that, he comes across the line to take P4. And we do have Limburg's Jordan in the BMW. We saw him slightly stationary earlier, running the HSR Motorsport Esports livery, which is brilliant to see once again. And Jordan, as we heard earlier, P3 in the championship, and he's coming to a stop now. Let's see Fox also in a BMW. He's been running the same livery also, but again, I don't know what about this. I don't know what it is, but this livery is just, I don't know why, but it doesn't get old. It just doesn't get old. It's just such a clever little, I don't know how to say it. It's such a clever little hybrid between the actual BMW colours, but also HSR Motorsport branding, because you can see just above the M, there's like a little HSR thing there, and it's also just that unique, it's got that unique metallic look to it. Metallic, I don't know, it's not gloss, definitely not. Satin look about it as well, which makes it a bit, a bit shiny, bit unique as well. And Dixon just at a time. Let's have a look at it. It's Pro class, and Dixon is actually, and he's gone straight back to the pits. So let's follow Puller. Puller also in a BMW, running BMW colours as well. Not custom, I believe, though. But yeah, sorry, Dixon, who we just saw go back to the pits, he's actually been a former racer, and unfortunately last season and the season before, he was just not getting the consistent results he was looking for. But I guess for the last 2 races, he was like, hey, I want to get involved again. I've got nothing to do on Friday evenings, 7 p.m. BST, so I'm just gonna race. And to be fair, he was Topinka's main challenger when they were racing back in season 2, and Dixon was actually the only driver to get past Topinka fairly in season 2. He got through round 3 Barcelona. Into turn 2, he got ahead, so it was good. It's good to see Dixon actually put up some resistance to Topinka's dominance. So it's nice to see him back again. Welcome back, sir. Best of luck for the race. Christoph is out on track, the familiar blue and red Ferrari. And to be fair, he's not been too shabby lately. He's been quite good with his awareness. This is a driver that you see on track and you wonder sometimes, why is he here? But he has recently been performing quite well. He's recently just been so much better. He's just had that great spatial awareness, the spatial awareness that most drivers need, but that unfortunately a lot of drivers lack. And he was lacking it literally this season. Start of the season, we had some complaints. I think it was Alton Park. We had a couple guys. Again, they would like, do we want to ban this guy from driving or something like that? But eventually, it was retracted, and they were like, no, let's keep him on, see what happens. And looks like he's gotten his act together now. So it's great to see this man out and about on track. Anyways, he doesn't care what's happening. He's just here for the racing. He's just here to go around the track, and it's great. I love it. Keep going, Christoph. Love you, man. Then we have Novell in a Porsche, currently ripping it round. Yellow and black livery. And very British as well, as you can see on the rear wing. And I swear we've seen that rear wing before in some other cars. Warburton jumps to mind. Warburton it was, with a red Mercedes. He's also got a red, white and blue Union Jack on the back of his car. So Novell, he's also had some decent performance. We've seen some great racing from him as well. In terms of consistency for points, it's not too bad. But yeah, not quite challenging for the podiums yet. So it'll be nice to see him get a podium at some point as well. If it's not this season, then next season it'll be nice to see him get some decent points. Then we've got Rebecci, who is this season's main challenger for the Pro Class P1 position, championship lead. It's a bit weird saying that, P1 position. And he's currently running the Omega Motorsport Italia livery, as he has been doing over the past 6 months. Season 2, Season 3, all the same livery. So he's not one for changing things much. That's okay. It does mean I get to recognise the car, recognise the driver purely off livery, which is absolute bliss. You know, I love it when I love it when it's that easy. But at the same time, you know, you'd like to see a couple new additions to the livery here and there. And the thing is, as well, when you've got plenty of red, white and black McLarens on track, it does tend to get a bit confusing. It was very confusing last season when we had both the DSRT guys and the Omega Motorsport Italia guys running virtually the same livery. So it was a bit confusing at times, but you know, it's all part of racing. A little further up, P14 Huben is ripping it round, P3 in the championship. As we heard, he's not too far off P2, and you know, P1's still fairly within reach for him. The Nissan GTR driver performing well, as he did last season as well. Season 3, this was the driver that finished P3 and almost took P2 away from Manship, believe it or not. Manship was in the AM class last season as well, and Huben was quite a good challenger for that. And the only way that I think it was the only way that Puller won was because these two were fighting so much, Manship and Huben. So it's great to see him again just performing well. It's great to see Manship also just spread his wings and get out there. Who else do we have? We have Pirinen joining us again, and this was a Ferrari driver who joined us for the first time at the Red Bull Ring last week. So one of our latest additions to the grid. And this week, he's running a new livery, yellow and black. Last week was just a default, so it looks like he's managed to get some good. He's managed to get a custom livery going, which is always great to see. You know, yellow and black and red, definitely a unique livery, one that we haven't seen before. We've seen a yellow livery on a Ferrari before, Manship in a 296 last season, but it was almost completely yellow to start with, and then he started adding little details. This, though, it looks professional. This, I like this. We've got branding. It's not too much. It looks professional. Could be on an actual race car in the real life. So yeah, great to see this. Pirinen currently in the AM class, so it'll be interesting to see how he performs today. We don't really know much about him. He's only recently joined, so again, one of those variables we'll have to keep an eye on throughout the race. Then we've got Dutton, who we just see going around at the pit lane. Oh, it's perfectly stopped right in the middle of it. So Dutton in the Porsche, as you can see, purple rims and the usual camo livery. And yeah, I like it. Dutton, though, has pulled out some spectacular liveries in the past. I remember the Lexus of last season sporting the Domino's livery. I really quite enjoyed that. It was at Misano. We saw it for the first time. The spicy sausage. I still remember it. I think that is still one of my favourite liveries of all time. The colours don't really mesh too well for me. I say that, but even last week I was saying I quite liked the Liqui Moly livery that John Millot did. So I don't know. But Dutton's had some fairly decent liveries in the past, which is it's just been great to watch him. And we've got Taylor in the McLaren, Ooh, and a slight change from what he was doing before. Before he was running a yellow and red livery with a massive spider on the back and on the front. And now he's gone for a black and dark blue livery. And I know it looks default, but he told me specifically that this was the original racing colours he had when he was starting out on ACC. So feeling a bit sentimental, I think, is the man currently in P2 in the Pro-Am class championship. Meanwhile, here's Dixon in a Mustang. He was in the Aston Martin last time, and it's great to see him back again, just doing some laps. But it comes now that time of the evening, that time of practice, where we usually have an interview. And yes, we have one lined up for your pleasure, for your viewing pleasure. Oh my goodness, and there's Peter and heading into the wall. Oh yay, and that was down at turn 9 and 10, out to turn 9 and 10 into turn 11. Kumo curve. Ooh, a little slidey. Cool. And Riley Pennell joins me in the commentary box for the first time. How are you, sir?
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
I'm surviving. Brain is a little mush, but we'll survive. Cool. So, we'll start with a fun question or two. We've asked this question to every driver so far this season. Why did you pick the BMW? And is it your favourite car?
Right. Well, I think coming into this season, I was a bit quick to join. I was mainly focused on GT4 racing, so it was like I didn't know what car to use, so I tested out a few. I'd used BMW a few times before, and I just thought, well, I was getting the quickest lap times. It's really stable, and I feel like I could drive it in any conditions.
Absolutely.
So I just thought, let's give it a whirl, see how it feels.
And I mean, I think that stability is what everyone else is looking for this season as well. We've just recently seen that revolution in BMW just explode recently. It was all McLarens and Ferraris last season and the season before, but now it's suddenly taken a massive turn. Is the BMW then your favourite GT3 car, or is there another one?
Right now, yes, but I think that there's definitely cars that I could be faster in that I haven't discovered yet.
Just that time,
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah.
Just the experience. And also, kind of, again, still on the topic of the cars, what's the inspiration behind your liveries?
Something bright and to be noticeable on stream. Nothing like a big bright car.
No, absolutely. And I mean, it was definitely noticeable when you brought it out round 4 at Zolder. It was definitely just stood out immediately. It was great to see. You went to an orange livery for the Hungaroring. What's the story behind that?
So that was actually gifted by John Mellett. He sent it over to me, and I thought I'd give it a whirl, and I just forgot to put it on today, to be honest.
Oh well, it's honesty is the best policy. So, I mean, it doesn't look bad though. It doesn't look bad. Neither of them look bad.
I did like it.
I just kept getting it confused with Brum though, because Brum was running again. He also just changed his livery literally just for that race, and I was finding it so confusing, especially during the race start. You guys were quite close to each other, so when there was the bit of contact into turn 4, it was like, whoa, who's doing what? Cool.
Yeah.
So let's head into the stats then. It's your first season racing GT3. What's your opinion on this season in general?
So far, I think it's been like great. I've enjoyed all the weather challenges. Racing at a couple tracks I haven't raced at before, just because I'm so new.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the weather's also been quite new to me, actually, because last season it was fairly monotonous, and I guess Craig took a leaf out of Foxy's book, I guess.
Yeah.
And what's your opinion on your performance so far this season? You're currently leading the championship, 6 points ahead of Rucroft. What do you think?
Well, it started off a bit shaky. But I
Mm.
think I've sort of found my groove now. I'm starting to get a bit faster. You know, I'm sort of understanding everyone else a bit more now. So
Mm. Yeah, and I guess that's
at one point we
yeah.
was like neck and neck. So that was yeah.
Yeah, it was last race heading into round 6. You guys were 2 points apart. You were 82. Can't remember. Yeah, you were 82 points, and Rucroft was on 80 points. Does that make you nervous though, having Rucroft as your immediate rival?
I think it gives me a reason to race even faster.
Race harder, race faster. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, what are your goals and expectations then for the last 2 races of the season?
I'd say keep it clean and just do the best I can.
Mm,
You know,
mm.
try and pull out a few new moves.
Ooh, nice. I can't wait to see them. It's always a bit of a rhetorical question when I ask people what their goal is, because obviously everyone's here to win, but sometimes, guys are just here for fun, but yeah, it's more the expectations, yeah, where do you think you'll come out? Obviously, you're just going to give it your all and see what happens.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So last couple of questions. What do you think about the weather today? Is it running in your favour? Will this work in your favour today?
Round here, I think my pace in the dry isn't the best it could be.
Mhm.
Just a little bit inconsistent. So in the wet, when everyone's having a bit of a slip up, BMW is a great car in the wet, I think.
Mm.
So if I just keep it out of trouble, limit the damage, I'll be gone before you know it.
Perfect. Just what you want to hear. And last question then. What is the key, do you think, to winning at the Nurburgring?
Race start, tight first couple corners,
Mhm.
and it's going to be mayhem.
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm going to just try and not get caught up in it. Hope that I'm on the inside and don't get dive bombed or anything.
Yeah, those
Yeah.
first couple corners are definitely crucial. Just keep it clean, and the rest of your race will be fine. Because there's plenty of space to overtake on this circuit. You've obviously got the massive turn 1. You've got the rest of the circuit as well. Turn 8's quite a good spot. Turn 11 into the chicane. You've got so many overtaking opportunities. So as I said, just as long as you keep it clean for the race start, you should be off to a great race. Cool. But yeah, I mean, just wanted to keep it short, just so we minimise the amount of time we inconvenience you. You've got 8 minutes left in practice, so good luck, sir, and we'll see you on the other side.
Perfect. Right, thank you.
So Pernell, our current AM class leader in the championship. Again, first championship racing GT3s with us. He has been racing GT4s, so I know him a little from there. And we've also done a bit of endurance racing. He's popped into the voice chat when I did a 4-hour solo at Indianapolis, and I was pouring out my heart and soul. I was so sad no one else had come to join me, and Riley pops into the voice chat, so it was lovely. But yeah, so Riley currently Riley Pennell in the AM class, ripping it round. So let's see how the standings are going currently for practice. We've of course got Topinka up at the top, Marcy P2 as is tradition, Hewlett not too far off as well. Hewlett is a force to be reckoned with if he can make it to the track and be at the front of the grid, but even then it's not guaranteed. He is a fast driver, but just that consistency has been eluding him unfortunately all season long, and it was the same season 2 and season 3, so unfortunately, yeah, just there's always some sort of otherworldly circumstance. But being the owner of HSR, it's only to be expected. There's a lot on his plate, so I don't blame him at all. Let's actually follow Hewlett now. Let's see what his livery's like. Oh my goodness, he's also forgotten to upload it. Oh, there's something going wrong with Awesome Sim. He's usually running a really nice bright red, white and black livery. Same as the rest of the grid, made by Mishka, I believe, and it looks very professional. I do like it. Now, who else do we have? We have Jackson in the car 323 with his trademark purple and yellow car for this season. Last season, he tried changing it up every single race, but of course, that was a big, tough ask for him. So he's just sticking it sticking with this livery at the moment, and I have to say, what a livery to stick with. It is absolutely stunning. I love it. It looks great. Keep holding on to that one for this season. As long as you change it for next season, I'm happy. Although I wouldn't mind seeing it again next season, to be fair. It is such a lovely livery. And Josh Redhead joins us again for another race. Again, one of the late joinees in the Mercedes. He is from the Open Lobby Racing server, small server that we're not official partners, are we? I don't think we're official partners, but yeah, it's a small, quite small Discord server that we've had a couple races and racers, racers with an R. Just my accent makes it sound weird, doesn't it? But we've had a couple racers come over from OLR, and a couple of us go over there. So it's kind of a semi-partnership, I'd say. But yeah, Josh Redhead then in the blue Mercedes, running the usual colours for the team. What else do we have? We have Manchip in the orange and blue McLaren, running those same colours that he's done all season long. Very good. And Mishka and Schubert both joined the chat. In fact, Mishka is just coming out of the pit lane, and it's great to see him turn up for his home race. Mishka actually took a podium last time he was here, round 2 of the Season 2 Championship. So it would be great, it would be nice to see Mishka up there performing well today in front of his home crowd. Same for Schubert in the Ferrari. They are both in the same class though, so they can share the podium, but they can't share the race win. It'll be a battle. If they can get up there and be fighting for the race lead, yeah, it'll be the battle of the fellow countrymen, and the risk will be high, but yeah, I don't know. It would be, I'm sure, quite an emotional moment for them. And probably for me as well. 5 minutes left in practice then, and I can't believe I've been babbling for almost 40 minutes now about nothing but liveries and the rain. We've got Schubert now coming out. Ooh, hello there, Schubert. You are treating us tonight. Usually, Schubert is running a very, very simple livery, literally 3 colours, and that's it. Schubert has been an absolute weapon on track, though. We've seen some great action between him and Jackson. I remember round 2, season 4. This season, we had some great back and forth action between them. Him and Jackson fighting over some positions, and yeah, that livery is looking really fresh. Green, black, and white. We've never really seen those colours other than I almost said Van Dorn. Van Dorn's never been in our season. Verbrew was running a lime, yellow, and black livery, but it wasn't like this. The closest we've had to this was Hosco last season. But yeah, I'm digging it. I like it. It looks good. Brilliant. It's got some branding on it. Again, looks so professional. It could be... you could use it on a real-life racetrack and no one would flinch. We've got Elford also joining us today. Who else? Pfeiffer just going out on track, also running a usual livery. Black, white, and blue. Now, Pfeiffer has been doing quite well. So it's, this could be another podium for him potentially. Now, the only thing he's waiting for is a race win. I was actually looking at the stats earlier today, and he's had 5 podiums so far, and every single one of them has been a P3 finish, which brings consistency to mind. But at the same time, I'm sure he's just itching for maybe a P2. It would be nice to get higher than P3. But at the same time, I can imagine he's just itching to get a race win. He just really, really, really wants that one race win. Who else is out there? We've currently got 27 drivers. Considering we have almost twice that amount signed up to... No, sorry, not twice. Yeah, it's going to be less than twice. Considering we've got quite a few drivers signed up to the championship, it is a bit disappointing, when you get... Oh! And that is going to be Pfeiffer going straight on at turn 11, getting back on for turn 12. But yeah, it is a bit disappointing when you head to these really awesome tracks and then not many people turn up. It's what usually happens at the Nordschleife, unfortunately. We've had 2 season finales at the Nordschleife, longer races, and only about 15 drivers turn up. So, I mean, for me, the action doesn't usually seem to die down. We had a really nice season finale at the Nordschleife last season. Oh, and there's a yellow car backed up against the pit lane somewhere on circuit. That's not Dixon, because he's not in a yellow car. Taylor again. Oh, yes, it's these. Well, it's only one driver that. It's Taylor that I thought had a yellow livery. Again, I'm just stuck in that habit. Lavagnos, we didn't cover him earlier. Lavagnos in the McLaren running the awesome Mercedes colours. And I swear every week there's something new he does to the front of the car. The rear of the car looks absolutely awesome, but it's the front of the car that looks quite simple. But then every week it seems as though there's something that I noticed new about it that just stops making the front end look just grey and blue. So it's nice to see him out on track again. And practice is now officially at an end. We are approaching qualifying. Oh, that has not quite gone right. Sorry, the broadcasting service guy is getting ahead of himself. He's already so tuned into practice, is so tuned into qualifying. Oh, and we have some possible contact between car 127 and 77, but it's almost never something to look at. Car 77 is going to be Kurt Peters. We didn't actually see him earlier during practice. Kurt Peters in a yellow and black livery. Again, as we've seen for most of the season, I think it was right at the start we saw a different livery. I think he was also running a red, white and black livery, funnily enough. But now he's resorted to these colours. Now I would say go grab some snacks and stuff for qualifying, but qualifying is one of those really intense moments where you don't really want to miss too much. It's really going to be 20 minutes of split qualifying, so as a kind of explanation for that, the Pro-Ams and the AMs will be going out for the first 10 minutes, and then the last 10 minutes will be purely for the Pros. It just keeps the track a little cleaner and less frustrating for the guys who actually need the space on track. But now, as it comes across, we'll just cut the cameras for a short while, and then we'll get the action going again. And you join us now for the start of qualifying, and the track is still wet, officially classified as damp, as you can see in the top right hand side of your screen. And we're currently following Alfred in the Lime Porsche. That is one car we didn't manage to cover during practice, and again, every time it just seems like there's one new detail that he adds to the livery that just makes it seem so much more professional. I love the livery. It really does stand out. And we've seen some great battles between him. It was him and McElwain last season that had some good battles. I'm thinking specifically Zolder. There was Monza. There's all sorts of great stuff happening between them. There's Redhead just ahead as they go through the Schumacher S's. But yeah, qualifying about to start for the Pro-Ams and the AMs, and I thought I might explain a little bit about those two classes just for your information, just so you can kind of have a look for yourself at who's where and who's in which class. If you look at the leaderboard tower on the left-hand side of your screen, Fox is going to start his first flying lap now. So once he goes around the entire circuit, that's when we can start covering the action because, yeah, he still needs to set his first time. So the drivers with a white square behind the car number. So let's go from left to right on Topinka. Let's say P1 at the top, right at the top. P1, the number 1 best position. Right next to that is the name, Topinka, and then you've got the logo of the car that he's driving, which is going to be the Lamborghini, and then his car number right alongside to the right of that. Then he's got a green square, which during the race will be replaced with an orange one, and once they pit, that will change to green, just to show that there's a mandatory pit stop and he's used it. If there's an orange one and the race has ended, he's likely going to be hit with a massive, absolutely huge penalty, which is unlike the pros. But it's not impossible. It's not impossible. But anyways, back to the racing car number, which is again next to the green little rectangle. It's the background of that and the colour of that background which designates the different classes. So white square is going to be the Pro class, grey square is the Pro-Am class, and red square is the Am class. So we've currently got the Pro-Ams and the Ams out on track for the first 10 minutes, which is going to be the grey and the red, and then the Pros for the last 10 minutes. And I saw Fox was flashing his headlights. I wonder whether he's tuned into the stream and is hearing us watch him, hearing us watch his every move. Continues to flash the headlights, so potentially. Because there's no one else ahead of him. It doesn't make sense for him to be flashing his headlights otherwise. And he has come across the final corner. And for those of you in the YouTube live chat, thanks for the information. We've got 2 drivers who say can't be there. One driver says can't be there for the last 2 races. We've got Nelgan Stanley, who's not able to make it. And Marcy, again, I'm just going to say, just keep your eyes on the road, man. Keep your eyes on the road. We talked about this last week. Don't get too distracted, yeah? Keep your eyes on the road. Hands on the steering wheel. So, Fox came across the line at 2:03.5, but of course the lap times will keep tumbling. We've got 5 Pro-Ams. In fact, we've only got 3 more Pro-Ams to come across the line to set some laps, and unfortunately Fox is the slowest out of all of them. And now we've got Christoph comes across 2:07. Let's see, who's going to be the man to watch? I think Manchip is going to be quite an important driver to watch out for. Of course, he is leading the Pro-Am Championship so far. So a solid driver all round. Comes through the final couple corners. Where does Manchip end up? Manchip ends up P3, Puller and Redhead ahead of the McLaren driver. Who else will need to come across? Taylor's in the pits. He's not making it. Rucroft suddenly join to the qualifying session. Now Rucroft is P2 in the Am Class Championship, as we heard earlier. It's only 6 points off Pinnell, so there is still quite a lot riding for this Aston Martin driver. And again, look at the livery. I swear every race you see something new on the livery, and especially for Rucroft, we've seen some really cool livery developments over a season. Season 3 particularly, it just went from a normal livery like this, and then it just eventually just customized it, and it looked absolutely awesome. But anyways, back to the grid. We've got Pfeiffer going through the right-hander of turn 12 now, out onto the main straight. And then he's going to hit the kink of turn 13 before he hits the chicane. And he's looking at an improvement, hopefully. Pfeiffer now currently P8. Fox improved up to P5 with a 2:03.2. And Puller also just sets his fastest time with a 2:02.2, so he's cementing his position up at the top. Redhead is only 0.3 seconds off, and Manchip is only 0.4 seconds off. Here's Pfeiffer now through the final corner, and unfortunately he has invalidated his lap time, so it wouldn't have counted anyways, but he's across the line now and trying to improve. Redhead just out of the first corner Also a driver to keep an eye on. Currently P2 overall and P2 for his class. He's going to be pushing for some good results. Pernell takes P1 for the AM class, and he's also on a big push. Currently 3/10 up as he heads into the second sector after these first initial couple corners. So Pernell's going to be trying to cement his position up there. Huben's also another driver to keep an eye out on. P3 in the championship. Rucroft also P2. Then it's Conti and Pirinen. Now Pirinen is that variable we were talking about earlier. The driver that we don't quite know as well. The driver who we haven't seen too much from. And Pernell into the gravel at turn 8. Ooh, a little bit of a glitchy moment there. Into the gravel is Pernell. He's not likely to make an improvement, and he also completely missed the apex into turn 11. Rucroft invalidated his time. Who else? Let's go back. Oh, Novell seems to be on a rampage as well. Currently P4. So he's beating Fox, who is P3 in the Pro-Am class. So I just had to check. He was running P2 for most of the championship. That's why I had the bit of uncertainty. But Novell currently pushing. He's P4 currently. Oh, look at that. Using all the exit curb through turn 9. And he is currently following Huben, who's in the AM class. So this might get a little hot for Huben, and maybe slightly disappointing for Novell as well. As long as they don't get in each other's way, that's fine. And in fact, Novell might be getting a bit of slipstream from Huben into the chicane. Now, unfortunately, no overtaking is allowed unless the driver ahead allows you through, properly. As in, you can definitely see it. But here we go. Novell now through the final couple corners. Out of the Coca-Cola curve, turn 16. Out onto the main straight. Where does he come out? Unfortunately, still P4 for him. And that we're almost at the end of qualifying. Can you believe it? We're virtually there. We're currently 30 seconds left before the pros come on. So, yeah, it feels very, very short when you've got two classes running, and even the pros, they also find it quite short. 10 minutes of qualifying it sounds long, but it's really quite quick. So Pernell then holds on to his AM class lead. Huben P2, Conti P3, two Nissan GTRs up in the top 3. Rucroft though wants to change that. Rucroft pushing hard into turn number 7 into the forward curve. And this will be his last opportunity to set a lap time. Cars must now come into the pit. If they come across the line now, that's their session over. If they're currently on a lap, that's fine. It's as long as you're across that line by 10 minutes, you've got an extra lap. If you make it after 10 minutes, yeah, that's your qualifying over. So Puller then currently still P1 for the Pro-Ams. Manship managed to take P2 away from Redhead. And Redhead still in P3, Novell P4, Fox P5, Alfred still out on track, currently P6 for his class. And then we've still got Huben out on track as well. Rucroft now pushing. He's made a good improvement so far into Sector 3. He's half a second up on his previous time. Let's see how it goes into the chicane. We've got Vidal. Then we've got the Coca-Cola curve. Turn 16 coming up. He's looking good, looking clean. Round the long right-hander. Is this going to be an improvement for Rucroft? Is this going to be P1 for Rucroft? Is this going to be P2 maybe? Across the line? Oh, and Rucroft P4. Not enough improvement. And straight onto the side of the track because here come the pros. And looks like we may have had a couple drivers join. No, it's just the same amount. But Taylor didn't manage to get a lap in. Taylor in the Pro-Am class didn't manage to set a lap, which is really unfortunate for the driver in the McLaren. He's had such a good performance this season and he's really pushing hard, but unfortunately he's just not managing to get that consistency late on in the season. Here's Topinka though in the Lamborghini, the carbon Lamborghini this race round. And he's leading the pack of pros that are making their way around the circuit now. And this is the view from the front splitter of the Lamborghini. The first valid lap for Topinka currently underway. And last race, it was actually a big shocker when Topinka did not qualify pole. So a big shocker. Previously, he's been so dominant, he would qualify pole and then just hold on to the race lead throughout the entirety of the race. And it was that all season long. And then last week, for the first time ever, he came across the line after qualifying and he started P4. That didn't stop him from advancing up the field though. He still managed to finish P1 after an exciting chase from Marcy. So Topinka pushing hard, again getting the rotation, taking more of a V curve, V-style curve if you want, V-style approach to the hairpin corner. Ooh, and you can hear the gravel on the left-hand side of the car rattling there slightly. Kill through turn 11. Another couple corners to go. Turn 12 through the right-hander. Now out onto the straight. He's only got a kink, a chicane, and a long right-hander left before he comes across the line to start the pro class off with their lap times. 6 minutes remaining in qualifying. The drivers won't have much time to improve on their times or have a second chance at their times if they manage to mess up their lap times. Here we go then, Topinka across the line. What is going to be the target lap time? It is a 2 dead 0.425. Jackson also across the line. Now a 2.0.6. Marcy 2.0.6. Lavanias a 2.1.4. Peters at 2.1.8. It's all fairly chronological in the order that they come across the line. We've also got Morris P3 2.0.9 as well. Here's Limburg's a 2.0.6 as well. So Limburg's also a Lamborghini getting in there. Rebecci now the McLaren comes across at 2.0.5. He's only a tenth off of Topinka, and Jackson has unfortunately already invalidated his lap time further down the grid. Who do we think could improve the most here? Jordan comes across the line at 2.2.0. We've still got the last couple of pros coming across the line. We've got Hewlett, Dixon, Dutton and Mishka to come across. There's Dutton, P8 at 2.1.7. Dutton as well at 2.1. No, sorry, we just covered Dutton. Funny that. Hewlett, P5 at 2.8. To 0.8, and Topinka's about to post his first improved lap time as he comes into turn 11 and 12. He's at the forefront. Dutton seems to be doing quite well through the first sector as he goes through the Mercedes arena, now out of turn 5. Let's see how this goes. So Dutton needs to improve by quite far. Actually, let's follow Marcy because I'm really quite interested to see how Marcy fares. He's been quite a good challenge to Topinka. So is Rebecci, so is Lembergs. And Marcy is currently on a 0.2 improvement as he heads into Sector 3. The final chicane, a little bounce over there as he may be losing some time into the final corner. The Coca-Cola curve, turn 16. How does he fare? Topinka solidifies his position at the top with a 2.02.2. Marcy has improved by 4 tenths. He improves by 1 tenth. That's a 2.0.5 essentially for Marcy, who takes P2. Lembergs was not far behind. Coming across the line now. Where does he come out? Does he manage to improve on his time? No, he doesn't. He stays virtually right where he is. So P4 for Lembergs. Our current top 3, Topinka, Marcy and Rebecci for the Pro class. And you can definitely see how the classes are split now. You've got the Pro class at the top, then the Pro-Ams, and then the AMs right at the bottom. Looks like Dixon is just coming out of the pits now. Mishka unfortunately not having a great time either. Lavanios is into the pits. Let's see, Hewlett is pushing now around Coca-Cola curve, out onto the pit straight. Where does he come out? How does Hewlett fare across the line? Hewlett takes P2. Oh my goodness, by only 800th. So he's within a tenth of Topinka. Could this be a worthy challenger to Topinka? Hewlett, who's been just struggling with the mid-race strategy, with a mid-race lottery, I would say. Just ran, or how do you say it? Spin the wheel, mid-race spin the wheel for Craig Hewlett. It's just been so unpredictable for him this season. So it's great to see him racing again and great to see him performing again. P2 at the moment, and he is pushing. Almost 2/10 improvement as he heads into the final couple corners before Sector 2 starts. And the rest of the grid, we've got Dutton and Lavanios in valid lap times. Same for Jordan. So the drivers at the bottom of the Pro class maybe struggling slightly in the weather. And it's at, again, just that somewhat uncomfortable status, if you will. It says formally that the track is currently damp, and that is just the really awkward, I don't know, the really awkward state of the track where you can't slip on normal tyres because there's struggle to get up to normal temperature, but you put on softs. Sorry, why do I keep saying softs? You get up to you put on the wet tyres and they just overheat instantly. Here we go. Hewlett now through the kink of turn 13. He's only got turns 14 through 16 waiting for him. Vidal and then Coca-Cola curve. Let's see, does he manage to make up some time through here? Out onto the curb. Through turn 16, it's a wide approach out onto the main straight. How does his exit compare to that of his previous Delta? Does he improve? Does he manage to take P1? No, he doesn't. Hewlett, unfortunately, with a slower lap time, and he decides it's time to pull the plug. 50 seconds remaining in qualifying. Who else do we have that could potentially put up some resistance to Topinka, who is still on a 2:0.2? Jordan seems to be improving down in P11. Jordan was one of those cars that didn't seem to manage a early qualifying lap in. So let's see, Jordan now with 30 seconds remaining in qualifying. He potentially has one more attempt at a qualifying lap in the tank. Through turn 16 now, Coca-Cola curve. You've heard this a couple of times this evening already. Out onto the pit straight. You can see the rain affecting it. Here we go, across the line. Where does Jordan end up? P7. So good improvement for him, a 2:0.9. And that is really how close the Pro class is. Literally, P1 through P8 are all within a second of each other. But that now is the end of qualifying, and the race is going to start in a couple minutes. It might be 5 minutes or so, because the drivers still have 2.5 minutes to finish their lap times. Marcy now comes across. P3 is locked in for him. Jackson comes across. P8 for him. Jordan seems to be only a driver who's actually managing to improve through the early sectors. Morris now comes across the line, locked in P6. Who else do we have? We've got Lavanios and Peters still out on track, as well as Dixon down in P26. Dixon, I'm sure, is looking at improving. He's just coming through 10:16 now. Does he manage to set a lap time? If yes, where does it come out? If no, he does manage to set a lap time, but it's P10 for the Mustang driver, so I'm sure it is a slightly disappointing performance for that driver. So he'll be the last to come across the line. We've got Lavanios now coming across with an invalid lap time. Peters also with an invalid lap time. They're pretty much just trying to run down the clock. And then it's Jordan, the only driver who hasn't managed to invalidate his lap time yet, into the final couple minutes of qualifying. And he is now going through turns 11 and 12. He's got, again, just a kink, a chicane, and a late... Well, that was a bit weird. He's only got a kink, minus the kink now. A chicane and a long right-hander to go through Vidal. Cutting the curb, bouncing that BMW, but as we heard from Pennell, it's quite stable. Now through turn 16, is he going to improve? And if so, where does he come out? Round the final corner, here comes Jordan across the line. And it's P6 for Jordan. Great performance. And that then is the end of qualifying, and we'll be getting the race going in just a couple moments. We've got an hour of racing ahead of us, so now would be the time to go grab your snacks, grab a drink, and settle down for an hour of racing in just a couple moments. And the race is upon us, and we once again have control of the drone to have a little grid walk, if you will. So we've got the carbon bodies up at the front. We've got Topinka, currently P1 for the Pro class, Hewlett P2, Marcy P3 in the Aston Martin. Then we've got Limburgs, we've got Rebecci, we've got Jordan, we've got Morris, we've got Jackson, we've got Dutton. Here is Dixon, Lavagnos, and we've got Peters, the BMW, and then start the Pro-Am class. Puller pulling, you see that? Puller pulling out a very decent performance during qualifying to take P1 for his class. We've got Manchip P2 and Redhead P3. Also fairly decent performance. Then we've got Schubert, that lone pro in a field of Pro-Ams, followed by Neville, Fox, Elford, and then the Am start. There's Pinnell, there's Pfeiffer in the Pro-Am class, here's Huben P2 for the Ams, and Conti P3. So the two GTRs managed to stay within those podium positions. Rucroft, Pirinen, Christoph, Taylor, and Mishka round off the grid. So we've got two Germans on the grid. There's going to be Mishka, as we saw at the back, as well as Schubert, who unfortunately they haven't managed to get the best of qualifying positions. But we'll have to see how the race unfolds. Anything could happen. Topinka gets the grid rolling, and as you can see, the track is once again sopping wet as the drivers file past the drone. Now, I'm actually surprised at how far the drone's gotten. Maybe they've upped the performance of the drone slightly. Again, we tried to preserve the drone as much as we can by not allowing the drivers to smash into it, but we might have to put it down right next to the track, and Pinnell almost sticks it out anyway, so yeah, maybe still not the best. But there's Recroft going by Mishka and Taylor bringing up the rear. So yeah, it is race time. Topinka starting us off as usual at the front. We've got Hewlett, a surprise P2 start from him. He has seen the podium a couple of times in HSR Motorsport broadcasting history, just not in season 4. And you know, this could potentially be his chance at it. Marcy also looking at another podium, looking to improve his position within the championship. Lindberg's also the Lamborghini waiting for some more points. Rebecci trying to hold on to that possibility of maybe winning his second championship. Because really, Rebecci was our Season 1 champion, Topinka our Season 2 champion, so they're waiting there. And then unfortunately Peters, he's kind of fallen off the radar. It doesn't seem to be another championship win for Peters. He was our Season 3 champion, and he's found Season 4 a little harder than the previous ones. So we'll have to see how that goes. Puller, though, a AM champion from last season. He's looking to get another race win at some point. And he's looking for that today. Taking P1. So Puller, yeah, he's looking for his first race win of the season. Despite some solid performance and a great run last week, he's just waiting for that race win to come along. Who else do we have? Redhead, obviously, also, again, late joiner, but he's also waiting for a podium, maybe a race win out of the blue. Who knows? It is sopping weather. Look at how much spray is going up into the air. And of course, you know, we shouldn't forget the AM class. Oh my goodness. Where has P1 gone? P1, there we go. Sorry. It was just because Pinnell wasn't up there. I was like, what's happened to him? But yeah, Pinnell's still out there in the BMW. Then we've got Huben and Conti. Conti potentially looking at another podium. Conti maybe even, dare we say it, looking for a race win here today. Same for Huben though, 4 podiums. That could be a race win. Oh my goodness, and there's a Ferrari off into the gravel somewhere there, into the grass. Don't know who that is, but we don't have the time to look for him as the drivers now form up into 2 lines to start the race. And yeah, I got it right this time. I didn't say double single file or two double single file. You know, that was just too confusing, so I'll just stick to 2 lines. There we go. Just simplifying is easier. But anyway, here we go. Race start, about to start, round 7 of the Season 4 Championship here at the Nurburgring. And it's go time, 28 cars racing down towards turn 1 to start 60 minutes of racing. And there's, oh my goodness, here's Hewlett already around the outside into turn 1. Is this going to be an overtake for the man in the McLaren? He's alongside. We've also got some racers further down the grid. There's Marcy down the inside of Hewlett. Now is he looking at a position change through the Mercedes arena? He can't quite hang on. Lindberg's is there, also looking for a position. Jordan now down the inside of Rebecci into turn 3. Lindberg's is still down the inside of Marcy ahead, and Marcy's dropped down a position. Lindberg's got past. Oh my goodness, and I'm seeing Jackson tumble down the grid. He's collided with Fox as well, but he's gotten out of the way. Seems like there isn't too much chaos down there. And further down the grid, Dutton is looking very slow, very lonely at the back of the grid, and looks like most of the drivers managed to get through cleanly. But there is still potential for some mayhem. We've got some great mid-class racing here, mid-pack racing. We've got Manchip, Pinnell, Lavagnos. We've got Schubert right at the front. Now heading into turn 8, this is really where a lot of overtakes happen. It's a great overtaking opportunity for most of these drivers. And you can see Pinnell was thinking about it. He was down, he was almost looking at it. He was going for the inside line somewhat. We've got tight racing between Fox and Huben. We catch him just in time to collide the 2 GTRs there. Mishka's had a brilliant start. He's right up behind them. Now there's Conti losing a position to Huben through the Schumacher S's. Conti's holding on. Mishka's there. He wants to make a position and move up the grid as fast as he can. Pinning in the background as well. Here we go into turn 11. And Huben's got that inside line to get the move done. We've got Pirinen down the inside of Rucroft. Or Rucroft potentially trying around the outside. And Huben's managed to get the move done. Oh my goodness. And there's Redhead facing the wrong way. Oh my goodness. And there's Conti as well going slidey through turn 12. Now into turn 13. Mishka will obviously be looking to make an improvement further up the grid. We've got close racing here. Tyler Taylor, sorry, losing ground, unfortunately. He's had a good start, though. From where he started, it's not too bad, not too shabby. Huben and Mishka just swapped positions, so Mishka is pushing. Mishka wants to perform here in front of his German fans. Here's Schubert trying to make a position on Morris. Down into turn 1, 2 Ferraris. Morris and the red Ferrari. Oh, does he collect Puller? No, he just keeps it out the side of him. Here's Schubert now around the outside of turn 3. Into turn 3. No, he's not caught. He's not quite got that move. Down into 10. Here we go. He's looking for the inside. Morris is trying to defend. He's put his car around the centre. He goes wide. Here's Schubert now down the inside. Round the outside of turn 4 and 5. Can he hold on to get that inside line into turn 6? Yes, he can. He's got that move almost sealed. He's just finishing it up. Just cleaning it up. Oh, my goodness. Morris getting really close to the rear. Maybe slightly damaging the rear bodywork of that white and green Ferrari. But that is Schubert now up into P10. Brilliant overtake. Down into turn 8, though. There could still be potential from Morris. You go, Morris having a look. Morris diving for the apex, and he's gone wide. This is Schubert's opportunity to get the cutback. There we go, and Schubert does manage to preserve his position. Morris with a desperate lunge. He just could not hold on to that position. It was Schubert all along. Peter 0.2 seconds off of Dixon, but I believe they've just swapped position, so there could potentially be some more battling there. Here's Alpha now, right up behind Pfeiffer for P4. I was running through the grid. P2, P3, P4 for the Pro-Am class. Alfred in the green Porsche, looking for a move on the blue Ferrari ahead. And now the grid starts to take shape. Now the grid starts to stabilise somewhat after lap 1. And Alfred, though, he's still looking for that position slightly onto the gravel. Both of them are. The Ferrari's still ahead. The Porsche's got the slipstream. Down into Vidal, who's going to have... Vidal. I just completely swapped all my consonants and all my vowels, and it was weird. Here we go, through Vidal into turn 16, Coca-Cola curve. The Porsche, oh, he's having a look down the inside. The Ferrari maybe taking a wider line than the Porsche anticipated. Out onto the main straight. The Porsche's got some good exit speed. He's already going down the inside of the Ferrari. Here's Morris now on Pfeiffer for P4. And he's there. Down into turn 1. And there is Alpha getting the move done. Brilliant overtake from the man currently in that green Porsche in P4. He's got Purinen just ahead of him, but that is going to be an AM driver, so it shouldn't be too much. Oh my goodness, and there's Pfeiffer onto the grass. Taylor slipping by. Here's Conti as well. What happened there? Maybe a slight lapse in concentration, potentially. The weather does make it a whole lot harder to concentrate here. Conti's looking for a position. He's got Huben right up behind him, half a second off of him. So if Pfeiffer's slower, Conti definitely wants to get past. Oh my goodness, and Purinen is just dropping down the order. What is happening? Meanwhile, up at the top, Lavagnos is only... Well, he's just overtaken Pinel for P12 overall. So that is interclass racing. Pinel currently still leading the AM class. Puller still leading the Pro-Am class, and he's 0.4 seconds off of Morris, but not far behind is going to be Manchip, that orange and blue McLaren that you can see in the background there. He's not too far, so he does need to keep an eye out for him. And car 12 is going slow. That is going to be Alfred parked up on an exit road. Let's see whether we can have a look at what's happened here. So here he is, down into the Schumacher S's. Out of there, into turn 11. This might be where it's happened, maybe taking the curb too much. No, yeah, taking the curb too much into turn 12, and there we go, just losing it right there. Fortunately, doesn't hit anything or anyone, and does make the wise decision of backing up onto the exit road rather than just going straight into traffic. It's a good awareness from Alfred, that he'll be pushing to make up those lost positions, I'm sure. And now the grid continues to space out. Lemberg's currently P3. He made it past Marcy right at the start. So at the moment, our top three for each class is going to be Topinka, Hewlett and Lembergs for the Pro class. Pro-Am class is Puller, Manship and Fox. And Am class is going to be Pennell, Brucroft and Conti. So not too much damage done between Conti and Huben. Conti obviously lost a load of positions right at the start, but he's managed to kind of pick them back up. He's still P3, he's still podium finish, but it's not a race win for him yet. Rucroft is going to be chasing down Pennell, his championship rival as well, looking for those extra couple points. Marcy only 0.2 seconds off of Limburgs, and he's really pushing. He was sliding over turn 15, that final right-hander section of Vidal. But unfortunately, he's lost some time there. So now that gap is up to 0.8 seconds. Huben, though, 0.4 seconds on Conti. These two had a great battle only minutes ago. We were only 9 minutes into the race. 9 minutes and 30... Oh, my goodness. I'm going to have to time this right if I want to get it right. 9 minutes and 30 seconds into the race. There we go. Got it right this time. Conti under pressure from Huben, the two GTRs about to start battling it out. And is it just me, or does it seem like the track is getting darker? Yes, it is, because we are on 3 times speed. So even though we only cover 1 hour of real-life racing, we're going to be covering about 3 hours of virtual racing. And considering this thing started at 7 in the evening, we're going to be finishing at 10. And that's Novell coming out of the pits. Is that his pit stop for the race done? Does keep it clean. He makes sure the drivers can see all around him. I'm not sure, but it doesn't seem as though we do have any penalties to be applied, which is good. It means the race starts being somewhat clean. And the gaps are fairly consistent. Conti only 0.4 seconds over Pfeiffer ahead as well. That's what 0.4 seconds looks like. 0.3 now as they head through turn 6. Oh, and Pfeiffer's had a rough mid-corner there through turn 7. The exit, how does this compare? 0.2 seconds between these two now. Interclass racing. Huben behind, so it's very important Conti doesn't mess this up, because if he gets this wrong, he loses not only the podium, but he loses out to Huben as well. And Conti is, of course, trying to climb the leaderboard. Here we go, alongside now through the Schumacher S's. And I think Conti does back out slightly, because it is a very scary section to come through, because now Huben is right up behind him. And 0.4 seconds, maybe a little rough over the curbs for the GTR behind as they head into turn 11 now. Half a second still between them. And I'm actually quite impressed at how close Hewlett is managing to stay to the back of Topinka. He's still within half a second, and that is very impressive considering Hewlett has not been racing much this season, and when he has, he's been much further down the grid. An interesting driver to keep an eye on is also Morris up in P9. Looking at a position on Schubert. Here's Conti going wide through turn 16 though. Here's Morris, 0.2 seconds off of Schubert. We saw these two fight right at the start of this race as well. Morris looking for that position back. 0.3 seconds between them now. And actually further up the grid, right up at the top, is Hewlett, only 0.2 seconds off of Topinka. Oh my goodness, this is close racing right at the top. Half a second between Schubert and Morris, who we are following at the moment, the two Ferraris. But I do think that Schubert might have that move done. He might have that position change done. And Dutton is moving up the grid. Actually, Fox is moving down the grid. Fox out on the exit of turn 5. That's just out of the Mercedes arena. He's trying to defend his positions as much as he can. There's Conti. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! Conti and Pfeiffer. There just wasn't enough space, and Fox, the unfortunate recipient of that, will have to have a look at what happened there just a couple moments ago. Let's go for it. Here we go. So Fox literally just on the exit, just a bit of oversteer, and that's all it took to take him out. And then if we bring up the camera from above to see what happened here, He's trying to come back on track. Brings it over to the left. There's Pfeiffer. Here's Conti. Oh, Pfeiffer onto the grass, and Conti trying to make sure there's enough space. And then, yeah, that is it. And Fox, fortunately... Oh, my goodness, that was close through there. Wow. So, yeah, an unfortunate circumstance there. Mid-pack, Fox falling down the grid. But this is brilliant. Hewlett still only 0.4 seconds off of Topinka. Hewlett giving Topinka a run for his money. This is something we haven't seen pretty much ever. Hewlett's, I hate to say it, but he just hasn't had the pace to keep up with Topinka in the past. But today, it is different. 0.3 seconds between them. And I'm starting to panic because I cannot see... No, there he is. I was starting to panic because I couldn't see Conti. But now I see him. There's just a much bigger gap to Huben than before. So then, Fox and Alfred, both unfortunate circumstances for them. Novell also right out at the race start. Jackson also poor performance. Huben dropping down the grid. Redhead also unfortunate for him. Pirinen also redhead. Stationary, facing completely the wrong direction. Parked right on the exit. Make sure you get it clean. Oh, keep it clean on the exit. Yeah, there we go. Good job. So redhead spun around in the Mercedes arena, but it's 0.1 seconds between these two. Oh my goodness. Hewlett potentially a move into Vidal. 0.1 seconds there, just as they were going into turn 14. This is quite close between these two. Hewlett putting Topinka under loads of pressure. Could we see a move at some point? Or is Hewlett just going to stay behind? Because he knows he's got the pace now. Is he just going to stay behind, stay in that slipstream, and just keep tagging along so they can get a bigger gap? And then once they've got a big enough gap, they can start properly fighting? Maybe. Maybe. So maybe Hewlett is holding back slightly. But, oh, maybe not. Slightly earlier, slightly tighter line there for Hewlett into turn 2. And turn 3, that McLaren seems to have some good mid-corner speed compared to the Lamborghini. And out on the exit, it's only 0.2 seconds between Hewlett and Topinka. We've still got 45 minutes of racing. Here we go. Oh, Hewlett is really putting Topinka under pressure. He's making him think. Hewlett doesn't mind about the strategy. I was about to say he doesn't think about strategy. He probably does, and this might be the strategy. Just get past him because he knows he's faster. Maybe. I mean, looking at the best times, Hewlett is faster. He's almost 4/10ths faster, which is absolutely incredible. I cannot believe it. And of course, now it's getting darker and darker. Just the vibes start changing. It's really weird how the race can... I don't know, the race vibes and your concentration can change when it's suddenly darker. The shadows are there. You know, all those small factors coming in. It is really, really weird. And you won't know what it feels like until you've actually been there and done that. And maybe got the t-shirt too, but maybe not. Okay. It might be time to look at our first replay. We've got contact between Kurt Peters and Pullar right at the front, right at the start of the race. Let's have a quick look at what happened here. So, race start. There's the yellow BMW of Peters. There's Pullar. And just a friendly little nudge. That's all it was. I love how the contact list comes up. They've got this massive list. It's like, look at all these mistakes. And then it's just the gentlest of touches. But here we go. Mishka on Lavagnos. He's done a pretty good job of coming all the way down from P27 up to P13. Mishka absolutely firing up the grid. Now he's currently P13, only 0.2 seconds off of Lavagnos, the German, looking at another position on the McLaren. Here we go, down the inside into turn 1. Is this going to be an overtake for the German on his home track? Yes, it is. Here we go, down into turn 1, right in the middle of the track. Lavagnos going wide, and he almost concedes that position. He goes slightly wider, giving Mishka more than enough space to slip past into P12 and P10 for his class overall. Further down the grid, though, P22 is at stake for Alfred. He's only half a second off of Fox in the BMW ahead. Alfred in the Porsche behind. So could there be an overtake here? This would be for P5 in the Pro-Am class. It's not quite close enough for moving to turn 1. Next opportunity maybe turn 8. And it makes sense in my mind sometimes for an overtaking to turn 6, but it just doesn't quite work out as well. In theory, you know, oh my goodness, Alfred sliding through the Mercedes arena, and he does a good job of getting it stopped, slamming on the brakes and not taking out Fox, because it looked like he was almost going to go straight into Fox there. If he hadn't held his brakes, he would have been into Fox. So yeah, it's good to see Alfred being safe, being a good driver. Oh my goodness, and he's sliding through the left-hander as well. So he's safe, but he's pushing. He wants to do well. Now into turn 8, the done-up curve. Or I don't know how to say that. It's spelled K-E-H-R-E. And I don't know German, but here's Peters now up behind Rebecci for P1, almost said P1, P6. Here we go. Rebecci currently trying to defend his position. 0.2 seconds between them. Rebecci still on the outside. Here's Peters going for a dive down the inside. Cover less distance. He's right in the middle of the track, but he's not quite close enough for the move. Rebecci, though, goes in the space. Oh, my goodness. That is Peters taking out Rebecci. And Peters, with a collision, has unfortunately spun Rebecci around. Rebecci's fortunately managed to get back up to speed fairly quickly. He's only lost one position, and that is to Morris. So Peters kind of needs to give that position back. Will he? Will he not? I don't know. He's continuing the race, so it doesn't look like he's giving that position back soon. So Peters then passed Rebecci, but Rebecci losing more than just one position. He's lost 2 positions in the space of a couple corners, in the space of 10 seconds. That's all it takes to ruin someone's race. And as I said earlier, a couple seconds is all it takes. Well, Hewlett was only 0.2 seconds off of Topinka as they were going through turns 9 and 10, the Michael Schumacher S's. And he's dropped back slightly now, but Hewlett maintains that pressure. He continues pushing, potentially for his first race win in a very, very long time. His first race win of the season, first podium of the season is at stake here as well. So he's looking for that. Here's Mishka fighting with Pulla now. Through turn 12, the 2 BMWs. Nice to see some good clean racing here as well. They're pushing each other hard, but they are giving each other the space they need. And Mishka's just reminding Pulla, hey, I'm in a completely different class. I've got Lavagnos right up behind me. I don't want to fight him again into turn 14. And Pulla is defending his position. He doesn't care what class these drivers are in. He just wants to preserve his position. Pulla right at the front of the Pro-Am grid. And now that brings Lavagnos back into the fight. 0.3 seconds off of Mishka. Mishka wanting a little bit of the slipstream from the BMW ahead. Lavagnos, a little bit of slipstream from the BMW ahead. Same thing. Here we go, a move down the inside. Mishka making Pulla think. Pulla trying to defend his position. Lavagnos is right up behind him. And Mishka's using as much of the track as he can on that inside line. Quite an interesting approach there. Morris now only 0.2 seconds off Peters, up in P6 as well. So there's all sorts of fights happening in the Pro class. Down in the Pro-Ams, though, not too much. Other than, of course, the race leader, Pulla. He doesn't want to put himself at too much risk because he is currently leading the Pro-Ams. So this could be his first race win of the season. But it won't be for long if he keeps defending. So we'll have to see how this goes. Oh my goodness, Limburgs and Hewlett just swapped positions. Limburgs now around the outside, down the inside of turn 10. What happened there? Oh my goodness. Okay, quick 30-second rewind. Let's go. So, here's Hewlett through turn 8. Now through the Schumacher S's. Oh my goodness. Brilliant save from Hewlett, going sideways almost 90 degrees through turn 9. Oh my goodness, maybe a little too much up onto the curb, maybe slightly onto the grass, and just completely locked the rears, slid out that rear end. Oh my goodness, but what a save from the driver currently in P3. The damage isn't too much, so it's good to see him still racing, keep pushing, but now the gap to Topenka is 2.5 seconds. So yeah, the performance we had from Hewlett earlier needs to continue if he wants to catch back up. Here's Schubert now looking for a position on Rebecci, and Rebecci just seems to be tumbling down the order, and Schubert, oh, under braking, having to take evasive action, but he's past Rebecci now under braking. Rebecci potentially thinking about going around the outside. No, diving for the inside into the Mercedes arena. This is great fighting. There's a wheel bang between the Rebecci down the inside into turn 2. Oh my goodness. So Schubert thought, oh, I've got this move done. Rebecci going around the outside. Oh, I can defend this easily. Dives down to the apex and just smashes into the side of the Ferrari. So Rebecci then, with a very stout defense and a very stout offense, has managed to stay ahead of Schubert for the time being. But Schubert knows he's faster. He knows he's faster purely on pace. He'll be coming by at any point soon. I'm looking down the grid. We've got Alfred on Fox again. P20 at stake once more for the green Porsche. Only 0.7 seconds, and we had a very close gap between them before, and then suddenly Alfred just spun out and he had a huge sideways moment and is caught right back up to Fox. So Fox may be struggling in terms of pace, or is it Alfred that's had some good pace today, or is it a combination of both? It's most likely a combination of both. But we also need to keep this battle in mind, Schubert and Rebecci, because Rebecci does seem to be slightly slower today. He is actually dropping quickly down the grid. Oh my goodness, Marcy 0.1 seconds. Oh, but that is because Hewlett is pitting. Again, sorry. It's just that you always have that heart drop that quick, just that instinctual, oh no, something's gone wrong. Oh, hang on, it's just a pit stop. Schubert 0.2 seconds once again on Rebecci. The Ferrari making a move on the Ferrari on Ferrari. No, it's a Ferrari on a McLaren into turn 1 potentially. He's not quite looking for the slipstream now. He is ducking back in. He's trying to let Rebecci think. He's trying to make him think down into turn 1. Again under braking. Schubert has to duck out. He dives for the apex. Does he get the car stopped though? It's again Rebecci round the outside of turn 2. So Schubert on the braking seems to be very good. And oh my goodness, and there's Rebecci losing it into turn 3. Schubert just out the way. Woo! Oh my goodness, what a save from Rebecci through turn 5. He can't help but concede the position to Schubert. Oh my goodness, that was an epic save from Rebecci. But he's not quite done yet. He wants that position down into turn 5 and 6. But it's not quite done. Through into turn 7 now, and Schubert has finally managed to get past Rebecci, but he almost throws it away going wide. Here we go, Rebecci potentially moving to turn 8. He's got the slipstream again. Again, we need to keep remembering there's the camber down at turn 8. So if they just dive for the apex, as Schubert does now, there's a potential overtake, but Rebecci has been beaten to it. Schubert, whoo, just holding on to P7. What a save from Rebecci, though. He lost it into the Mercedes arena. I thought he was going to go around, but he somehow keeps it somewhat straight. And then, obviously, Schubert can just cruise by and say, hey, thanks for the spin. So, we have a couple drivers who have already pitted. We are 33 minutes into the race, so it is the typical time for drivers to pit. Now, my only concern... Oh, actually, Hewlett might have done quite well here. Hewlett pitting quite early. He's down in P16. He does have the fast lap at 2:0.3. Oh, my goodness, but still sliding through turn 8. He's pitted. He's down in P16, but he's 6 seconds off of Rucroft. So he's got time and space ahead of him. He can just push as hard as he wants. Schubert now into the pits as well. Lavagnos into the pits. So this is the mid-pack battle now. Literally 3 different classes. We've got Jackson ahead in the Ferrari, Taylor in the McLaren, and Rucroft in the Aston Martin behind. And I'm not going to lie, Taylor has been absolutely sending it today. He literally started penultimate on the grid, and he's managed to pull out P2 for his class so far. Oh my goodness, so Taylor with some good performance today as well. And it's once again Alfred and Fox, that little battle we had going earlier. 0.2 seconds between Alfred and Fox. Now down into Devo. Ooh, Alfred making Fox think, and Fox has fallen for the bait. He's taking a narrow line into the chicane. Out of the chicane, though, there's not much difference. 0.4 seconds. Alfred, though, if he plays his cards right, could there be an overtake into turn 1? Onto the curb, no one losing too much traction. 0.3 seconds though. Alfred's had a good run out of the Coca-Cola curve. Now onto turn 1. How does this fare? He's going for it really early. He's going for that inside line, and he can't defend that. Fox having to go around the... Oh my goodness! And they collide, and they're both wide. Keep it clean. Oh my goodness. So Alfred, another attempt at overtaking. He's been a bit aggressive there. He's just absolutely sending it and hoping for the best. I mean, it looked like there was potential there, but he just couldn't get the car stopped at all. It just seemed as if the Porsche was out of his control as he hurtled into turn 1. Oh my goodness, and Hewlett into the pits again. Why has he stopped in the pits again? This is tragic for the McLaren. He's dropping down the grid. Yeah, P23 for Hewlett. Oh my goodness. What is happening? So the pit stop chaos will start soon, which means that we can start... Oh my goodness. No, that is Topinka spun out. That's the first time we've ever seen this. Topinka is currently recovering from a spin. We need to have a look at what's happened here, ladies and gents. So, here we go, into turn 1. Here's Topinka. Under braking. Looks very normal. Through turn 1, there's the camber. There's the elevation. Turn 2. Under braking. All fairly normal. Oh my goodness! Loses it just as the decompression hits and into the grass. Fortunately, no contact with the wall, but that has put Topinka down in P3, 5 seconds behind Marcy in P2. Oh my goodness, could this be the day that Topinka does not cross the finish line first and hold on to the race win? Because of course, at Imola, Rebecca came across the line first for the first time ever since Topinka has been racing competitively, and unfortunately, due to a penalty, he couldn't hold on to that race win. So technically, Topinka was unbeaten. But now, P3 for Topinka and the Lamborghini. He's need to make up 6 seconds almost now to Marcy and Limburg's. Oh my goodness, and Alfred is right up behind Fox again. We saw this battle kicking off earlier. This is once again for P4 or P5. Of course, the pit stops are all at play here as well. But Alfred going for a wider line into turn 4 and now through turn 5 using all the track. 0.3 seconds between them. Be patient. Be patient. There's no need to rush things. You've still got half an hour to get this move done. Yes, it's 2 seconds up to Pfeiffer, but rushing things so far has not gone too well for you, Alfred. So take a chill pill and just play it smart. Putting him under pressure into turn 8. Fox knows he wants to defend it. Alfred wants to go down the inside, though. He doesn't care whether it's been defended or not. And here we go, a couple pros coming into the pits now. Topinka, Marcy and Rebecca. Oh my goodness, and... oh no, that is because Topinka stops ahead. Anyways, oh my goodness, and there we go, Fox suddenly dropping behind Alfred. That happened so abruptly, I've got no clue what just happened. Let's go for a quick review, shall we? So we go into turn 8. Through there, oh my goodness. And just slow through turn 8, and then Alfred just slips past. Wow. So a very unexpected little change for position there. And then, yeah, out here. And I'm just having a look, because Manchip is now right up behind Fox as well. And Manchip was P2 for his class. If he gets caught up behind these guys, could there be potential for more delays. Because I think Manchip has pitted, hasn't he? Yeah, Manchip has pitted already. So this is potentially an overtake that could... Oh, well, it's done. Into the braking zone. I couldn't even get it started. There's Fox getting past... There's Manchip getting past Fox. Pfeiffer is now 0.2 seconds off of Mishka, and I think Mishka has just come out of the pits. Yes, he has, and that is why he's right up just ahead of... oh my goodness. Things are going all weird. So this is Pfeiffer in the Ferrari, Alford behind. So this is now for P2 in the Pro-Am class at stake. Pfeiffer P2, Alford P3, Manchip P4. It's all kicking off once again in the Pro-Ams, and there's Pfeiffer going wide into turn 7. Oh my goodness, a dive from Manchip. What a dive bomb into turn 7. He's alongside. He's not quite got the move done into turn 8. He'll have the inside line, though. Let's see how this turns out. He's not quite ahead. He's not quite got that half a car's length, but under braking he does. Diving for the apex, and there's Alfred having to give way. Pfeiffer's gone wide. Is this 2 cars in a couple corners for Manchip? Yes, it is. Here's Pfeiffer. There he goes. He just drops back to let these 2 through. So Pfeiffer losing 2 positions in a single corner, and Fox is not far behind. Manchip absolutely flying through this pack of through this trio of cars, through this pack of 3 cars, all fighting for some podium positions. And Manchip now back up into P2. Wow! Great racing from the McLaren driver. And I'm just looking, because Puller, half a second off of Dutton down in P16. He's had his pit stop. Manchip's had his pit stop. So Puller with a slow stop maybe. Because that's a massive gap. He was leading the race, and now Puller's all the way down in P16. Let's have a look at some of the pit stop times compared to Manchip. Yeah, that's 7 seconds slower than Manchip. But it is 4 seconds longer stop for him. So it might be that he decided to change some tyres. That's what I'm thinking. So Puller might have gone for the tyre change, and Manchip didn't. So that it could be as simple as that. But now, Lindbergh's into the pits. Jordan going to take P1. And this is really where all the pit stop chaos starts. So let's have a look at some of the other stuff that's happened earlier on in the race. And I do warn you, it's going to be very bright, because this is right at the start of the race where, you know, it was light and now it's suddenly dark. So prepare. Okay, here we go. Replay time. So right at the start of the race, we've got Recraft, there's Pielinen, there's Huben. Any contact between them. Oh, there we go. A little touch between them, a little rub. And then we've got something between car 80, 9 and 30. This is rapid fire, so just bear with me for a second. Well, a couple seconds. There we go. There's Fox ahead, Alfred, Pennell under braking. Oh my goodness, coming in quick. And actually, I think that was a very well behaved turn 1. Let's get another angle. Car 21, Conti's. This is Conti's view. Let's see how this goes. Focusing on him. And raking, there we go, then GTR on the inside. And yeah, look at how clean that is. I'm not going to lie. Oh, there is I see Dutton going around. Dutton, not sure what car number Dutton is. It's not 127, I know that. Jackson has some contact with Dixon also. And yeah, we're at that stage of the evening where the gaps are just so large, it's kind of, we're holding on to the replays. So let's have a quick look at this. This is just that start of the race. Then once we get through that, we'll take a quick look at the standings. Here we go, Jackson and Dixon down at turn 1. You can see Dutton going around as well. Oh my goodness, and that's where some chaos starts as well. So Dutton spinning out Dixon. That's, the alliteration there is confusing me slightly. Dutton spinning out Dixon. Dutton, Dixon. Okay, car 3, which is Mishka and 127. Again, right at the start, we're covering all the race start chaos. Let's go through this again. So that massive pile-up, there's Dutton, there's Mishka, Peel it in as well. Yeah, just a little tap there between Mushka and Pirin, and then we've got 4-car contact later on. And again, still no close racing here yet. Got some contact between Manchip, Dixon, Jackson. This is probably that pile-up we saw just as we go through turn 2, just as we saw from the contact between Dixon and Jackson literally seconds earlier. Let's see how all this went. Okay, into turn 2. No, all 4 cars clean through there, so I don't know what happened. Oh, unless it was something. Oh my goodness, and we just see Manchip go sideways through turn 12. What's happened there? Okay, so we might have another look at a replay, but this time from a replay that literally just happened right in front of our eyes. Let's go back in time 30 seconds. So here's Manchip into turn 11, under braking. Oh, and he's already going sideways through there. So under braking he was sliding, and then there we go, just try keeping it together. Obviously going from pavement to grass is quite a shock to the car's tyres and suspension, and he had good control of that. I'm not going to lie, we have seen so many good saves tonight. We have seen so many. It's just incredible, the reaction speeds of these drivers and just how they react, and yeah, all in. It was brilliant. It's great. It's great watching them. It's brilliant. So yeah, back to the contact between Dixon and Jackson. Let's see what happened right at the start. Here we go. So again, that was right at the start. No, it was just the same thing. So taps him out, and then something happened after that. We've got Peters. Also, again, race start chaos. Let's go back in time. Oh, this is right behind them. So here's Peters. And then the braking turns in and finds, hey, Pullar's there as well. Morris on the outside. Lots going on there. Lots to dissect. It might be useful having a top-down camera. Actually, 0.7 seconds now between Alford and Manchip. Manchip trying to make up some ground. Alford currently leading in the Pro-Am class, but Alford has not made a pit stop yet, so he still needs to stop. However, Manchip and Puller have both stopped, so as the rest of the Pro-Am class grid. Novell, in fact, has stopped twice. So, yeah, but he is unfortunately dead last. So, probably wouldn't say go the same strategy he has. Well, it's not quite a strategy if you get taken out. I know how it is. Okay, but we do have a gap now to go back in time. 3:23, Jackson and Puller again. I suspect literally exactly the same incident. Let's go back in time once more. Here we go. So, there's a tap from Jackson. Oh my goodness, and he spun out and, oh, bang! Into the front of the Ferrari goes Puller. Wow. So a hefty impact there. Now 0.3. Sorry, just looking at the gaps again. And looks like Dutton is 0.3 seconds off of Puller. Puller losing ground. Here we go, some interclass racing. Dutton now down the inside. Through turn 1, he's going to have that inside line. Is he half a car's length inside? Not quite, but he's going to have plenty of space to do so. There we go, Dutton diving for the apex, and there's nothing Puller can do. Dutton has that move nailed. Great overtake from Dutton for P10. Oh my goodness, and Alpha... Yeah, sorry. Again, just that gut response. Oh my goodness, there's a massive gap coming. Oh my goodness, he's dropping down the grid. Oh my goodness, he's in the pit. Pinnell, 0.1 seconds off of Pfeiffer. Oh my goodness, Pfeiffer trying some off-roading. Pinnell with some good reaction speed there. Here's Taylor I think he's a lapping driver or a lapped. Yeah, he is a lapping driver. 0.1 seconds, 0.2. Sorry, that is a Vanyos, not Taylor. Here's Pinnell down the inside of Pfeiffer, and he's got that move done. Pfeiffer trying to hold off Lavanius as well. Interclass racing at its best. Pinnell the arm ahead. Here's the move from the Pro down the inside. The McLaren, he's got that locked in. There's nothing Pfeiffer can do, and he's just dropping down the grid now, getting further and further away. Oh my goodness, and looks like Lavanios got past Pinnell just there as well. Gonna have a quick look at what's happened there. So this is all the action. Let's follow this from Lavanios's perspective. Here we go. So got Pinnell ahead of him, giving him a little bit of tug, a little bit of slipstream down into turn 1. He's miles ahead, keeps it nice and straight under braking, dives to the apex. Good. Now what happens to Pinnell? Oh, but Pinnell goes wide into turn 1, and then Pinnell has to defend from Pfeiffer as they go through turn 2. Oh my goodness, and Schubert just lost out to Mishka, the two Germans, the two home favourites. Have both just swapped positions. What's happened here? We might have to dive back into the replays again. I think we have to. Let's do it. Let us do it again. Time traveling. Love it. So here's Schubert in the Ferrari. Whoa, another spin. And he's facing the wall, taking his time, going back and forth. Nice safe rejoin, please. Ooh, yeah, there it is. Plenty of space for Mishka to come by. And that is how Schubert just lost P7 to Mishka. But he's not quite happy about it, because 0.1 seconds. Here we go, just in time for the move down into Vidal potentially through the kink. They're pushing hard. Schubert's got the slipstream on Mishka. Not quite got that done yet. The BMW eating those curbs for dinner, not breakfast. Breakfast is in another 12 hours or so in Germany. In the sim world, not in real world, because, I mean, it could be. It's not, I mean, it's 10 o'clock there now in real life as well. Oh, coincidence. But yeah, bigger gap now between these two. It's opened up slightly, and I think that is the majority. That is almost all the pit stop action over. So now we can go for a quick summary of our standings. We've got Limburgs, Marcy, and Topinka, our pro class, and then we've got Manchip, Puller, and Taylor, our pro-am class, and finally Rucroft, Pinnell, and Huben, our am class. And I can see Rucroft taking a race win. He's going to be spicing up the battle for the championship lead in the last race next week. He's going to be spicing up that championship battle. I'm sure they're going to be fighting. Oh my goodness, here's Mishka going really wide. Schubert right up behind them. These two pros are going to be fighting again. Into turn 8, Mishka going defensive. He's got that inside line. He knows Schubert will dive for the apex. They both probably know this track like the back of their hands. I always find it such a weird thing to say that. I mean, you're obviously looking at a lot at the back of your hands, but I probably know a little more about the front of my hand than the back of my hand. Obviously, if working at a desk, you'll probably see more of the back of your hand than the front, but I work in a factory, so I tend to see more of the front. So yeah, Rucroft spicing up the championship battle. Manchip, again, right up where he's used to, and Topinka down where he's not used to, P3. He needs to make up 3.9 seconds if he wants to take the race win. Limburgs in the other Lamborghini, and once again it's a Lamborghini sandwich. Marcy right in the centre, the filling for that orange and black sandwich. Shield sandwich, oh, well, that's a bit weird. But yeah, it's looking fairly good. Only 15 minutes or so, 13 and a half. I don't have to do the timing thing again. 13 13 minutes and 20 seconds remaining in the race. Let's just put it that way. Much easier. And the gaps are starting to close up now as the drivers who have pitted and have maybe had a rough race start to close gaps. There's 0.4 seconds between Morris and Peters, and there's less than a second between Marcy and Topinka. Half a second now. That gap is dropping fairly significantly. Schubert also just outside a second off of Mishka. Here we go into turn number 7, and Morris is looking racy behind Peters. There's a back marker. Fortunately, some good awareness down into turn 8. I can see Morris maybe making another fantastic dive down into turn 8, but he decides, no, he's going to hold back. That is fine as well. Now into the Schumacher curves. They are quite close to each other, 0.1 seconds. Maybe a move into turn 11. I think it's possible. Peters slightly slow. Oh my goodness, he's trying to defend. Morris having to go round the outside now. And Peters trying to defend. He's putting up a good defense. Morris can't quite find his way past through this section again, trying the outside line, trying his luck, but he's going to have a good exit now. Out onto the straight. He's got that inside line now through turn 13. And Peters can't do anything because he's there. Can Peters, under late braking, maybe hold his position into the chicane? He can't, because that Ferrari just has such good straight line speed. Oh, yeah. Millimeters between them. Millimeters. And the gap between Topinka and Marcy has grown back up to 1.4 seconds. It was half a second at some stage. So let's go. Let's dive back into time. Again, Puller with some action. My aim is to get through most of this by the end of the evening. So that was the race start. Chaos. Bang. Into... Oh, wow. Yeah, I could see there in the background. Just smashes. He just gets smashed by everyone. Just gets absolutely destroyed from the side. Okay, let's see if we can get some other action now. We've got... Oh, my goodness. We just see Schubert and Huben barely avoiding contact. Schubert again under braking. You just can't quite get that car stopped into turn 1. Let's have a look between the latest contact, not the earliest. Okay, so here's Mishka and Schubert yet again. I suspect it was just that little tap to the rears. Last 10 minutes of the race, and Marcy is now within a second of Limburg's. Limburg's losing time. What is happening? Right up in P2. Marcy can see Limburg's ahead. Marcy again in a familiar position, P2. He was right in this position last week at the Red Bull Ring. Now in the Nurburgring, the rings seem to be his area of speciality. 0.4 seconds between himself and Limburg's. Is there damage to Limburg's car? Is he maybe had a little adventure with the wall? I'm not sure, but Limburg's is trying to defend. He's waiting. He's trying to defend as hard as he can to get his second race win of the season. But Marcy wants his first race win of the season. He wants to be added to the race winner roster for season 4. Half a second. Topinka's not far off. 1.2 seconds as well. Okay, before this tension goes nuts, let's have a look at a really random replay now. As in one very random between Christoph and another driver. Real quick. This was between Conti and Pfeiffer. Oh, that was that. Why did I say random and then we just look at an incident we actually saw? Okay, well, apparently my luck is not the best. 0.4 seconds. You know what would have been the funniest would have been if these two had actually swapped positions while we were looking at that. That would be the epitome of bad luck right there. 0.5 seconds between Huben and Pirinen now. That's all the way down in P19, and it's not only for a regular position in the class, it's for P3. It's for an actual podium position. 0.2 seconds between them, but Marcy is now right up behind Limburgs for the overall race lead. Down into turn 13, now into the chicane. Here's Marcy with a look down into the chicane. Is this a change of race leader? Oh my goodness, close as they clatter over the curbs through Vidal. Marcy getting close up behind Limburg's. Last 7.5 minutes of racing remaining, and Topinka has caught up to the back of both of them. He's had some really good consistent pace tonight. Oh my goodness, is this a final battle between these three for the race lead and for the podium positions overall and for the pro class? The best of the grid now going head to head once more. Yes, indeed it is. 0.4 seconds, 0.5 seconds. Limburgs goes wide. Marcy down the inside of turn 4. Now through turn 5, and Limburgs has to concede that position. Marcy takes the race lead. And here is Topinka round the outside. The two Lamborghinis fighting. Limburgs trying to push him, trying to squeeze him as much as he can, but he has to back out into turn 6. And Limburgs drops down 2 positions. He's lost the race lead. Marcy now into the race lead. Topinka in the middle of it all, also managing to get past Limburg, 0.4 seconds. He's almost back up to where he was originally. Everything to play for, these top 3 drivers. Oh my goodness, this is close. Marcy, potentially with a track warning, I don't know. They are pushing. Dutton just managed to make an overtake on Manchip. Fox just dropped to Pirinen. He's having a massive battle there. Pirinen and Fox swapping positions all the way down in P20. But we are now right up at the top. P1, P2, P3. 6 minutes left in the race. And Limburgs has just lost the race lead to Marcy. Topinka also managed to get past in that whole skirmish. So now it's half a second between each of these drivers. 2 Lamborghinis chasing the filling of that sandwich earlier. Chasing the filling. It's fine. Marcy's finally escaped. He's finally escaped that Lamborghini sandwich. He's finally up in free air and he can just be free. Now it's a question of how free Topinka wants Marcy to be and how free Topinka can let Marcy be. Looking at the pace though, Marcy is about 0.3 slower than Topinka in terms of their best lap times, and Limburgs is even slower. So yeah, it's all in Topinka's favour at the moment. He's got the position of power P2, but Marcy right at the front, he's also got a position of power. I almost don't want to look away from this because it's so tight, but there might be another replay that interests us. Fox. This is the battle between Fox and Pirinen. Let's have a quick look at what happened here. So this was just a couple seconds ago. Fox down the inside through turn 3. Oh, hello. Pirinen's there. Well, I think that was more Pirinen. He was just turning in, and then Fox was suddenly there. It's like, oh, fancy seeing you here down the inside of the same corner. Let's see, is there some more contact there? So down into turn 8. No, there's a different incident. Oh my goodness, an absolute send from Pirinen. So massive that he clatters into the gravel. Fox just says, thank you, I'll take that position, I guess. And look at this. Half a second between Marcy and Topinka. 4 minutes left in the race. Limburgs has dropped down to about 1.5 seconds off of Topinka. Could this be Marcy's first race of the season? And could this be Topinka's first non-race win podium of the season? The rest of the grids is not too close. So this is pretty much the closest gap we have. 0.6 seconds between Marcy and Topinka now. The tension is mounting yet again. Almost exactly the same tension we had in the Red Bull Ring, except it's the other way around. It's inverted. So you've got Marcy trying to defend from Topinka. Topinka, the current champion, fighting to get past. However, Taylor is right up behind Puller now for P2 in the Pro-Am class. 0.6 seconds between them, so we might have a look down there soon as well. It is the last 2.5 minutes of the race, so these guys are going to be fighting as hard as they can. They're going to be battling as hard as they can to take these positions, and it's a 15-second gap down to Rucroft down in P14, further down the grid in the mid-pack in that battle between Puller and Taylor. So they've got plenty of space to battle. Topinka and Marcy, however, only have 2.4 seconds down to Limburgs in P3. But oh my goodness, the tension is mounting yet again. 0.4 seconds between Taylor and Puller. Here we go into turn 1. They are close. Topinka further up. We're just going to keep it on this because it's 0.3 seconds now into the Coca-Cola curve. Oh my goodness, is this setting up for an overtake into turn 1? Topinka, he's got that slipstream. Does he have the speed into turn 1? Final lap already. Oh my goodness, 2 minutes. This is time for Topinka to get past, I think. This is time for him to start going savage. He's right up behind him. 0.4 seconds there. 0.9 seconds between Taylor and Puller, so that gap has opened up slightly. It is last lap vibes here today. Nurburgring, Marcy, the sandwich filling, has finally managed to escape that sandwich. He's a free filling. He's looking for his first race win of the season. Oh my goodness, Limburgs dropping down. Limburgs, no more. Oh my goodness, last lap, he's out. He's spun out through the Mercedes arena, and Jordan suddenly takes a podium. Oh my goodness, into P3 goes Jordan. He's quite happy with that result. Limburgs, I'm sure, absolutely gutted. He was leading the race just a couple laps ago. 0.4 seconds between these guys now up at the top. 0.5 seconds between Puller and Taylor down in P12. Oh, through turn 8. There's only 8 more corners to go. 2 left-handers, 6 right-handers. Topinka 0.2 seconds through the Michael Schumacher S's. Oh my goodness, down into turn 11. There's a look from Topinka and Marcy going for an early apex. Woo, out onto the straight, 0.2 seconds. Topinka is right up behind him. Oh my goodness, I'm almost out of breath. This is how close it is between these guys. Topinka using all the track he can. Morris now also on Jordan for the final podium position. 0.1 seconds. Let's drop down there real quick. They're just going through there. But here we go. Now into the final chicane. 3 corners to go for Marcy. Into the Coca-Cola curves. 0.2 seconds between them. Is this finally time for Topinka to fall from his throne of finishing P1? Yes, it is! Out the final corner, it's Topinka who finishes P2. Marcy takes his first race win of the season. Round 7 winner at the Nurburgring, and Marcy crosses the line first. Incredible race from him. He's kept it consistent. Look at the excitement as he comes across the line. Oh my goodness, it is an evening for firsts. Here we go, Marcy. Finally, a race winner. Topinka taking his first non-race podium of the season. Jordan taking an unexpected podium as well. And Limburgs a disappointing P5. Oh, wow. I'm out of breath. Here's Manship now through the final couple corners. Oh my goodness. Where's Manship? Where has Manship gone? Manship spun out as well. Here comes Puller. Oh my goodness. No, he's completely wrecked. The Schumacher curves. Here's Puller. There's Taylor. Oh my goodness. Last lap. Here Puller takes the race lead. Taylor P2. Manship wrecked down at the S curves. He's now pulled down to the inside of the corner. Oh my goodness. And it's only 0.9 seconds between Puller and Taylor, so Puller just needs to keep that pressure off. He just needs to hold Taylor off. It's not going to be too difficult a task. 1 second between them. Into the final chicane. And now into the Coca-Cola curves. He just needs to get through this final right-hander. And yes, it is an evening of firsts for the pros tonight, because Puller now comes across the line to take his first race win of the season. Puller, our round 7 race winner. Brilliant. This has just been absolutely nuts. And Manship still parked there. And oh my goodness, here's Pennell giving Manship a push from behind. Go on. Go on, boys. Wow. So Marcy a winner, Puller a winner, and Rucroft a winner as well. Yeah, unfortunately, sorry, Ams. Rucroft wins round 7 as well. He is a previous race winner, though, so it's not too new for him. But here is Pennell in the Am class, giving Manship in the Pro-Am class a push. Oh, man, what happened to Manship? There is contact between car 11. Oh, no, that is because of the bumping. So, sorry, my contact list is going nuts at the moment. But, yeah, it's great to see this bit of sportsmanship between these two. Manship completely wrecked. I wonder whether he's maybe run out of fuel as well. Potentially. But here we go. They're going to be the last guys to cross that line. And Pennell escorting Manship. Manship started P2, so it wasn't an ideal race start for him anyways. But through the rest of the race, he had that massive lead, and then it just dropped, and then he caught up again through the pit stops. He was absolutely flying, and then a last lap crash. Here we go. Come on, guys. Just bring it across the line before the server restarts. Please, please, please. Pennell, there we go. Go on, boys. Just across the line. Just a couple more meters to go. And unassisted. Here is Manship, a heartbroken man. Tossed it to the wall unceremoniously by Pennell, but okay, it's okay. Wow, what a race! Especially this last lap was absolutely insane. Marcy, finally a race winner, finally the man to beat Topinka on even ground. Oh my goodness! And now we can all go have a drink, please. So yeah, wow, what an end to round 7. Manship, obviously, this maybe brings Taylor back into the fight for the championship in Pro-Am class. So, I don't know. There's plenty that could happen in round 8. The final race of the season next week. 7 p.m. BST as usual. So, yeah, join us then. Friday, 7 p.m. BST. Next week for the season finale, round 8 at Valencia for a 90-minute long race. See you all there. Good night.